It might be because I'm the right target audience, because I'm turning 40 this year, but I see quite a lot of people on YouTube in their 40s, 50s and 60s spreading wisdom on YouTube. And by wisdom, I mean it's knowledge plus experience. So they have been through parts of their lives and now they have taken something away from it and sharing it with others. I've seen quite a few videos about it because I'm quite curious about it. Again, I'm probably in their target audience. But in today's video, I want to talk about 3 powerful messages from people in their 40s, 50s and 60s, including myself. Let's get started. So first I want to talk about identity. And I think when you kind of turn 40 and you really think about who you are, because I think in your younger years, in your 20s and your 30s, you define yourself a lot by what you do, what your profession is in life. When you actually approach your 40s, you think about who am I without actually my job, my career, all the things I have done before professionally. The big question is, who am I? And who are you? I mean, there are interests and hobbies as well, but a lot of people don't really have interests and hobbies because most of the time it's really a lack of time because they're working so much. I actually have a few interests, but I would say in general, I'm not really a person who pursues a hobby. Which, when I say it out loud, it sounds a little bit sad. But yeah, when I go into my identity, I'm thinking, okay, I have worked in agencies, I've worked in social media, in advertising, in data analysis. I've been also a mother for 6 years now, but I know that I'm just not a mother. I'm not just a person who works in agencies. So if I just remove that, then the question is, who am I? And I know I have asked this question now a few times since I started this video, but honestly, ask yourself that question. And I don't think it's that easy to answer, actually. I mean, personally, I know that I love reading. I read a lot of nonfiction books. I read a lot of psychology and mindset books. I'm also very interested in child psychology, how we are growing up and what influences us. And I have a lot of values I'm now clearer on than I was in my 20s and in my 30s. But yeah, that's all cool. But there's still a bigger question of who I am, and I would be super interested to hear what you're thinking. So leave your thoughts in the comments down below. How would you actually identify yourself? And also leave your age if you dare to. And another thing people talk about is also money. And this is part of my videos as well, or at least I want to talk about it. What actually money is. Obviously, we want to earn a lot of money or a great deal of money, but that is so shallow, isn't it? We also kind of want to ask ourselves, what do we really want to do with that money? What do we want to buy? What do we want to experience with that money? In your 40s and older, you're just not thinking, I need a lot of money, to buy cars or bags or whatever. I think it goes a little bit deeper to really think, what do I want with this money? Even when it comes to traveling, which I think is a goal many people have, and actually traveling is also on my list, especially going traveling with my kids and showing them the world. That means different cultures, that our life is not the only life which exists on this earth, basically. I definitely have this aspiration of teaching my children, but then in general, what is really traveling? What does it give me, and my kids? And I just don't want to say I want to travel to this destination and stay in amazing hotels. I find that a little bit, again, a bit shallow, and I feel like I need to ask more questions why I really want this. And there are things like I want a house, maybe a bigger house, which is all good and all valuable, but that's probably not everything in life. And then when it comes to money, it's also that when you get older, you just don't want to sacrifice your whole life because you want to earn a lot of money. That means you don't want to work 50, 60 hours a week, or even 40 hours a week. Still seems like a lot of hours, especially when you have a family. You think a little bit more about the value of of time. You want to spend time with your loved ones, with your kids, and you really think like, how much do I really want to invest in like accumulating money, right? Then having the opposite almost, which not accumulating money is the opposite, is time, but you want to have a great balance of putting enough effort in to make a lot of money, right? A lot of money, but also having the time for yourself and for your loved ones. And I think when you're younger, you don't really think about these questions, you know, why do I want things? It's more like, I think you think a little bit on a surface level, that it looks really good if you earn a lot of money. I mean, there are tons of videos on YouTube where, you know, people are very attracted to, I made $30,000 on a weekend, for example, which honestly, it sounds amazing. I mean, you know, I congratulate that person. But at the same time, I also want to look behind it and be more thoughtful of like, what did it take? And like, you know, there's so much more now to life than just working your ass off and making a lot of money. That's basically the point I want to make. And one last point when it comes to money, which is the most boring thing ever, is retirement. And I know you might actually switch off and I only say a sentence about it because it's really boring. But the thing is that when you're getting older, you have to think about it. You have to think about, if there's a time where you don't really work and make money anymore, how can you still get money? And obviously there's different, different things you can do to think about your retirement, especially when you work in a full-time job. But yeah, when you're getting older, you think about that. And I remember when I was 20 years old in the UK, it was actually not mandatory, and that's probably over 10 years ago, to pay into your pension. So I remember when I got the option, I was like, hell no, I'm just like, you know, beginning of my 20s. I don't need to think about retirement. I'd rather have that cash right now and spend it. And that's exactly what I did. But now, obviously, the mindset shifts a little bit. So now you also have to think about retirement, which is not a bad thing to think about. But yeah, last but not least, which is kind of, you know, connected to your identity and to money, is what is really important in your life. And again, it's a very heavy questions, I feel sometimes. I mean, I don't know anyone who could just answer that, maybe with a few sentences. I think this is something people really don't know, most of the people. Maybe, again, older people, after they have experienced so many things, I think you get a bit more clarity of what's really important to you. I mentioned earlier, time might be really important to you, spending time with your family. And then also, I think health is a big thing. And yes, there's younger people who also care about health, but there's still a lot about how you look and muscles and like, like looking slim and all these kind of things, rather than what does it really mean to be healthy and have a really healthy lifestyle. So I think there's still two different things. And then also your social life, definitely also important in your younger years, but I guess it's a bit different because you mainly, you know, go out maybe, or like meet friends and that kind of stuff, which is great. I love that and I still love that. But now it's also important to have really deep connections, especially when you have a family. You spend a lot of time with your own little family, with the kids, your husband, for example. So having friends is a very important part of your life, but you have to actually put more effort in it and really like try to focus on the quality of your friendships, I think. And I think another thing is also the freedom really you might want to create for yourself, and making your own decisions and not being too tied to, for example, a job or, you know, other people who tell you what you need to do. And even rich people, I think, millionaires, for example, it doesn't really mean that they are free, because they might not be able to disappear, for example, and have to keep working to keep up their lifestyle. So when you're a millionaire and you're living like a millionaire, it's possible that there is a lot of things you need to do on a daily basis. And it might not be the freedom you're actually looking for. So sometimes it's better to maybe live more within your means, but have the freedom of making your own decisions, and have more simple things in life. And talking about simple things in life, I feel also like things like slowing down and doing boring things, and not being like crazy and like trying to have things in action all the time, is also maybe something which older people, I'm saying older people, like I'm turning 40 and I don't feel old at all, but I know that 20-30-year-olds think that 40 and 50 and 60 is just old. So things like yoga or meditation, or just sitting at your kitchen table and drinking a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, without doing anything really, is such a thing which sounds so weird, because not a lot of people do that, because they don't really take the time to just slow down and not doing anything sometimes. So yeah, these are the 3 powerful messages I got from other people, but also from my own life, from my mindset, that you really ask yourself about your identity, then also what means money to you. I love money, I love finances actually. I didn't mention that earlier. I love, calculating how much I can save and invest and these kind of things. I do love that. And I also love to think about how can I make money. But then at the end of the day, I should not lose the goal of like, why do I really want money? So there's deeper questions around it. And then the last question is, what is really important in your life? So I would love to hear your comments, your thoughts down below. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!